coffee like I like my women. Sweet.
You're live.
Thanks for the heads up.
Do what I can. All right, we're good to go. Do I need to do anything other than? Agenda.
Gosh, I can't remember yet. I got it right here.
We're good.
Need to,
Ready for the Pledge of Allegiance?
because I'm going back and forth.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll call show that everybody's present. Bo Weaver is present remotely. And we have no visitors because of our code 3 where we're at in the COVID. How many people do we have online, Chris?
Jennifer Shano, Wanda Wise, Jamie, Mike, Patty Collins, and AJ.
Very good, thank you. Resolution 2010.
There we go.
Would you like me to read it? Go ahead.
Resolution number 2010, a resolution authorizing the submission of a coronavirus relief grant application to the State Loan and Investment Board on behalf of the governing body of Shoshoni for the purpose of reimbursement for payroll and benefits and other unbudgeted expenses incurred during the COVID-19 response and mitigation accrued by the town of Shoshoni from March 1st, 2020 to December 30th, 2020. This response includes the Shoshoni Police Department and administration staff. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni desires to participate in the coronavirus relief grant program to assist in financing this request. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes the need for request, and whereas the coronavirus relief grant program requires that certain criteria be met as described in the State Loan and Investment Board's rules and regulations governing the program, and to the best of our knowledge, this application meets those criteria. And whereas if any of the dispersed grant funds are later deemed not to comply with the SLIB criteria or the criteria of the CARES Act, the grant applicant agrees to repay the eligible grant funds within 15 days of such findings to the Office of State Lands and Investments. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the governing body of the town of Shoshoni, that a grant application in the amount of $172,120, including $114,878.23 in reimbursed costs from March 1st, 2020 to October 31st, 2020, as well as $48,338 in additional payroll expense from November 1st, 2020 through December 30th, 2020, be submitted to the State Loan and Investment Board for consideration at the next board meeting after application process to assist in the coronavirus relief grant. Be it further resolved that Joel Highsmith, Mayor, Bo Weaver, Mayor Pro Tem, and Christopher Kojai, Chief of Police and Town Clerk, are hereby designated as the authorized representatives of the town of Shoshoni to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters related to this grant application.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I move that we approve this resolution of 2010.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we that we pass resolution number 2010 as read. Any further discussion?
This $172,000, basically you're asking from the state, is that for overtime or or what specifically?
That's reimbursement for all wages that were for the police department that are eligible for reimbursement from basically March 1st, 2020 through December 30th, 2020 is what it constitutes that amount of money. So it's money that's already been paid for payroll. We're seeking reimbursement for what was already been expended for payroll. It's just general payroll, all payroll and benefits included.
This just doesn't make sense to me. And the concept that we're asking for money that we've already spent, which makes sense. Would we do this if it was not for COVID? I mean, how did COVID affect the police department is my question.
That's
where I'm confused.
That's the criteria that was set by the CARES Act. This is in compliance with SLIBs and the CARES Act recommendations as far as how the money is distributed. It's what was put out from the SLIB meetings, and it is what every city right now is doing for the remaining SLIB funds as directed by SLIB
Okay. So it's coming down from the state to do this.
for payroll expenses that related to COVID.
Okay. You've answered my question.
This was, if I'm correct, this is maybe sort of a new direction we were given from SLIB, or a better clarification. What's the right word?
It's the clarification for monies that were unspent that they are directing towards payroll relief for basically communities involved in Wyoming from the CARES Act funding. I can pull up their guidelines if you would like to see them as well.
And worst case, they'll say no.
Yeah, worst case. I can tell you the last reimbursements in November, they gave out $7 million in payroll expenses throughout the state, over $7 million for this exact resolution. City of Rollins is doing one. Gillette did one. Casper did one. Cheyenne did one. So why would we not?
Makes perfect sense when you put it that way.
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Approved resolution number 2010.
Resolution number 2011, a resolution authorizing the increasing of fiscal year 2021 budget revenues for the town of Shoshoni. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni passed a budget resolution for fiscal year 2021, including expected revenues. Whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenue estimates were unknown due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni recognizes revenues from both unexpected sources not budgeted and revenues in excess of budgeted revenues have been observed during the first quarter of the year. And whereas the governing body for the town of Shoshoni authorized emergency increases in budgeted expenditures, and now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni authorizes the town treasurer to increase the budgeted revenue of the following line items in the amount specified commensurate with revenues received in excess of budget. 1031-210 miscellaneous $3,600. 1031-275 unanticipated revenue not $5,939.70. 1033-190 sales tax and use $11,973.0. 1033-220 gas tax $2,736.0. 1033-170 supplemental funding $12,391.0.
Can I have a motion to approve resolution number 2011?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. a resolution, we approved resolution number 2011 as read. Discussion, anyone
Just
discussion?
clarifying, that's just to amend the budget to what actually happened.
In the first quarter from our previous meeting in October, first week of October. This is the overages that we went over for that. This just gives me the authority to actually increase our budget so it's commensurate with our yearly budget to bring it back in line. It's already been done. It's just, I can't raise our budget
Without this.
without this.
Okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
So where's this $172,000 going that we got back from SLIB? Resolution 2010 said we're going to request for reimbursement for $172,000, right? That was already paid out in salary
It's reimbursement.
reimbursement. So if we've already paid the money out, we're getting this money back.
Yes.
So we are in a positive format now.
If we get that money, yes.
Okay, so where will that money go?
It'll go back to the town treasurer and the general fund.
General fund, okay.
That was resolution 2010.
Yes.
Yeah, this is,
If we
any
get
more
the grant.
questions on resolution 2011?
Call for the question.
Question been called for. All in favor, say aye. To
Aye.
approve.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed to approve resolution number 2011. Everybody had a chance to review the bills from October 24th to November 6th.
Who's Andrew O'Neill?
Our officer.
Oh, the new one, okay.
I move we approve the bills from October 24th to November 6th.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the bills from October 24th to November 6th. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Approve the minutes for October 27th, 2020. Minutes of, we'll do one at a time. If we have problems, let's do the first minutes for October 27th, 2020. Anybody have any additions, deletions, questions?
I move that we accept the minutes of October 27th.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes for October 27th. Do we have any further discussion?
It said the committee should look at a countywide franchise or an independent. There's some word missing, independent or independent.
I couldn't hear that on the minutes at all.
Oh, okay, so
And so I honestly could not hear it. I mean, on the actual recording, I couldn't understand that. I played it half a dozen times trying to get
Yeah, it's
clarity
just-
there.
What I remember from watching it later was that was mentioned franchise, it was mentioned that the committee looked at all options.
Mhm.
That's what I gathered off of that, if that's.
Yeah, all options, everything should be.
Right, that's what I heard, yes. Do we need to amend the minutes to say exactly that, Bob? You're the, Jay, I wasn't.
I thought it pretty much was the gist of it.
Okay,
Some of the exact words, I mean, I didn't catch it all either, so if Bob thinks we should amend it, then
I would, so, or, townwise franchise or independent carriers.
Carriers.
okay.
Got it.
Anything else, or?
move we approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, we approve the minutes for October 27th as amended. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Let's look at the minutes from October 29th. This was a special meeting.
I move we approve the minutes from October 29th.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the minutes for October 29th. Any discussion? None being, or do we need a little longer to review?
I'm still reading.
Okay,
And this is exactly as was emailed out to us, right? Okay.
Any additions, deletions, clarifications on the October 29th minutes? None being, all in favor, say aye to approve the minutes for October 29th.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's approved. Building permits, Harold Shepherd.
Oh, I was gonna mention that we've got 3 building permits in the packet and 2 on the schedule, so
I just informed the mayor.
I would make a motion that we amend the agenda to add in the building permit for Hot Springs Health. And then I would also like to amend the agenda. I guess that would be under appearances. For the Shoshoni Town Park project to discuss trees. Be the 2 amendments to the agenda I propose or motioned.
Second.
Been moved and second that we amend our agenda, add a permit from Hot Springs Health and a presentation by Brian Donahue
Yes, for the
trees. For the trees, for a proposal for trees at the new town park.
The reason for that is Hot Springs Health believed that they had done their building permit when they did their business license, and so there was some confusion on their end. So that's what that one was for. And Mr. Donahue thought he was going to have some family emergencies that ended up not allowing him to be here, but he is here. So he was originally going to be on the agenda, but was taken off because of that.
put back on.
Yes.
So the first building permit, Harold Shepherd.
I make a motion to approve this building permit for Shepherd.
Second.
Been moved and second, we approve the building permit for Harold Shepherd. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same. Approved.
Fine.
Second permit is for Letha Henderson for alcohol consumption.
I move we approve the permit for alcohol consumption for Alicia.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor to approve the alcohol consumption permit for Letha Henderson, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Building permit for Hot Springs Health. This for the sign?
Yes. Yes, is the sign.
I move we approve the building permit for Patterson Construction,
Second.
or for Hot Springs Health, I'm sorry. Patterson Construction is before.
Still seconded.
Been moved and second. We approve a sign for Hot Springs Health. Any further discussion?
I hadn't checked the ordinances to make sure it's within regulation. That's, has anybody?
I did.
And it is?
It is not.
It is not a, clarify that, please. It is
I
under proper regulations.
pardon?
It's,
I believe this, in the area that's zoned without a variance, it's oversized.
Because I read through that a while ago and I don't recall the exact specifications. They tell you it's square footage of signs.
If I'm just trying to come up with a sign, is that an 8 foot by 20?
It's 8-foot high sign, 20 feet wide.
Be 160 square foot.
And what's the zoning?
I think that's a zoning for R3, I believe. Give me a minute and I'll bring the sign. But that's what I remember.
I just hate, I would hate to
I
have
didn't see this permit.
something that goes against the
regulations.
town ordinance. That
And we just got this afternoon, so.
I'd be all for doing properly granting a variance if required, but
But I believe we have signs in the area of maybe similar size or bigger. Looks like you're not at your job, Joel.
it doesn't have the building address. I know it's got all the lot business and all, but I don't know where that's at.
I haven't seen it.
This is Shoshoni First Edition, Block 37, Lot 2.
Okay.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
I know.
We have a
One.
I think that's all
Or Shoshoni First Edition, Block 37. Block 37, right?
or Second Street. Second Street. That's commercial.
Yeah.
Or 3, red. C1.
37 is commercial.
C1.
What's zone, is that R3?
Commercial.
C1.
C1.
It is C1.
So I'm in Article 3 signs, where it says, where am I? Zoning, chapter 19 in the book. Signs allowable in C1 and M1 districts for any use allowable in R or SR district, the same limitations placed upon said district shall attach. Signs for identification of use of property or structures not exceeding a height of 80 square feet in area and being of a height of not to exceed 35 feet on the top of the adjacent building, whichever is greater. No sign shall be positioned on a lot adjoining an R district so as to face such R district,
So 80 square feet is the,
80 square feet.
And then we're at 160 there.
right.
So you want to look at this?
-1. 22. Yeah, there.
I hate not having my book on me. I didn't know.
I don't have that one.
I don't
It's
have
Sony.
Yeah,
That's proposed.
that's
that one.
proposed.
It's the same thing that I got. Mine's just a big fat binder.
Yeah.
Same ordinances.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, that's
On the
what
big
I was looking at earlier when I was
So
thumbing through it a while.
in light of that, I would like to make a motion to table this building permit until such time as they've had a chance to get a variance request.
Could we maybe make it so that possible, somebody check into it, make sure it's okay? And then they could go ahead with it?
It's too big for
Oh, that,
it's double the
That's right, you
size
just said
allowed by
that.
ordinances.
Right.
Unless
Okay.
they got a variance. That's why I would make a motion that we table this permit until such
Till
time
we-
as they have a chance to get a variance.
right.
Deny a permit, but we didn't allow a permit that breaks the code.
That's right.
Yeah.
You caught that. Good.
I didn't see this on the agenda item because I'd reviewed it and knew we had possibly had an issue. So it's been moved and seconded. We table the building permit from Hot Springs County.
Until such time they have a chance to
And what-
get a variance, apply for a variance.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
I got a lot more pictures here. If you guys want to take a peek at them, you can leave them with Chris or whatnot. I just leave them there, but this proposal lays out the plan for the Shoshoni Park project and will include a description of the job and task at hand. It will also give our guarantee of the work performed and a description of the trees good stuff. The tools we'll be using our Bobcat, tree spade, our truck and trailer and hand tools, and I'll probably have 2 guys helping me do it. 10 trees at $350 each. A 10-foot tall tree, if you buy one as a single, you're looking at like $700. And it comes in a bucket, and usually when you get the bucket, a 10-foot tree should have a fairly decent size of roots. When you buy them in a bucket, they get all balled up, just like a house plant, and they don't take very well. These trees are phenomenal trees. We have green spruce, blue spruce. There's a couple guys since I've brought this up to the city that they've been hitting us up for trees. Like, I don't know, maybe next year I need to plant some more trees and keep it going. But we're looking at 60 man hours. I feel like if maybe at the end of the week, I got with Chris, we kind of went over where you guys want them at the park. I feel like I might be able to knock this out in a week. We'll stake the trees. We'll do everything. I'll fertilize the trees. I live right by the park. I mean, I love trees anyway. So I would keep a pretty good eye on the trees.
Anybody got questions for Brian?
We don't have water hooked up yet to water these trees.
Well, there's actually a water hose there.
Okay.
There is a spigot and a water hose. We would muck the trees in. The trees are in a dormant stage right now. They're kind of sleeping, so they're hibernating, and they're not going to like really take off until next spring. So if we plant the trees now, but we're getting to the point where if we get a bunch of permafrost, we won't be able to, our tree spade won't pound through thick permafrost. So like we're getting to the time when we probably need to act on this. I mean, or if not, then it'll be, you can't just move them. Once they start coming out of dormant in the spring, the tree starts producing, and then you try to move it, and you usually put the trees in shock. So right now would be the time the ground's not froze. It's cold enough that the trees have gone, they're dormant. So, I mean, I don't know. I think some pine trees around your fire pit and all your area is good. I've worked for some of the biggest landscapers in the United States. And I don't know, I feel like if me and Chris actually, if the hunting season will get over, and then I could come down here and get with Chris and see what we can come up with.
Questions for Brian? Chris, if we approved this, because it looks like we don't do it now, we're going to drop it for a while. If we was to approve this now, where would we get funding to pay for it? One option is to use the discretionary funding under the mayor and council, and I could, within the current budget confines, I could shift that, reappropriate that money, reprogram that money for this, towards the park to pay for this.
There's what, 12,000 to that fund?
18,000.
18,000.
So we wouldn't have to actually increase the current budget. That's just one way. There's other avenues as well, but that'd be the easiest. There's not additional money in the park budget to pay for.
Not currently.
Right.
Pine trees like acidic soil. Our soils around here are pretty alkaline.
Yeah, the water is also, but if all that could be supplemented with, you just shake it right on the ground, they sell it, you can buy it anywhere. I mean, I would provide some of that to ensure, I don't want to come back and redig trees up, also. I'll fertilize the trees, we'll stake the trees will be properly taken care of. I mean, I live 2 blocks from I can see the park from my back porch.
That would be nice to have some evergreens.
You said you guarantee them.
Till next winter. So that'd be plenty of time. If the tree's gonna start looking rough or dying or whatever, I'll get the tree out of there and we'll put another tree in there. For sure. I got some other pictures if you guys want to look at some other pictures. There's green spruce, blue spruce, various sizes from 10 foot to 3 foot to 5 foot. They're all healthy trees, and they're grown. The trees are grown at Highland. You know, it's 40 miles away, so they're locally grown. So they're pretty much adapted to our surroundings and our altitude, climate, everything.
I think Highland's a little bit worse weather than we get.
Yeah, it
If they
does.
can live there, they can live anywhere. But a lot of times though, it gets more moisture in the wintertime.
This
Well,
is
than we do.
this is like the banana belt compared to Highland. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it gets cold.
it gets cold, but it gets a lot more, it does get more moisture than we
Yeah.
do.
Well, it seems like it does, but it's out there and there's nothing there.
It's
There's
dry
only 6
moisture.
houses. So besides the trees being there, the wind, it goes away very fast. It just-
Yeah, yeah, dries it out.
Yeah, yeah, it goes away quick.
And you would recommend blue spruce?
Yes, ma'am. So they'd be beautiful trees for the park with the, you know, the outdoor type gazebo we got
Oh, yeah.
posted around there. I have full measurements, make sure they're in a good spot, and I would do you guys right. And then maybe next year, you know, if you guys like what I do, there'll be more. I got other pictures if you guys want to see some of them.
The
I think
the
the
trees out
hardwood is
around my house, requirement for them to thrive any different than the blue spruce here?
No, not much. Your trees are probably what, 30 years old? They've been there a while.
Yeah.
Them are some
They've
big
been there.
trees. Yeah, them are big ones. These will grow about a foot a year.
Mhm.
So you can trim them, you can plant them up next to the corner or something. And you know, if it starts growing out towards it, you just cut the back to how it goes. I mean, we would space it out where they would last many, many years.
My only question is if space didn't allow 10 trees, would we be able to, do you have a rate that it would decrease for
Well,
commensurate with that, or is it all?
well,
flat?
at 350 a tree for a 10-foot tall tree is a pretty smoking deal.
Oh, no, I'm just saying if
Oh,
we mean that we don't have space for all 10
yeah,
and say we got 6, do you have a mechanism, or is the 60 man hours the same? I'm just talking budgetary wise.
yeah. I mean, if we came to that, we could probably come up with something that, I mean, we could wait. I'm sure there's enough room for 10 trees at the park, but if need be, we could hold off for some trees for somewhere else in town or whatnot. I mean, they're not going nowhere.
I was just asking just in case.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
came to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you guys like the trees, you know, I mean, the smaller trees, it'll be cheaper than 350 a piece at 10 at a time. Because they're a smaller tree, but these are better if you move them with the tree spade, because like I was saying, if you put them if you get them in pots, they've been in them pots for years. That tree could have been in that pot for 2-3 years. The roots just get bound up with each other, and it'll just choke itself out. You know, it don't let it grow how it's supposed to.
When do you predict the cutoff might be? Like, would we have a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, as long as we don't have a hard freeze to where the tree spade won't punch through the ground, you know, and because you start taking a track hoe in there or something, then you start disturbing the root ball. So you want to try to where there's not a lot of permafrost. I mean, you guys know how the weather is here. We might not see nothing until December, but like we're at the spot where I don't know what the weather's going to do. I mean, next week it could snow 2 feet, and you know, I can deal with the snow somewhat, but the permafrost is, I can't. I'll get to a spot where I can't do nothing, you know. It's just a bobcat with a tree spade, so.
Well, the trees we have, you know, enhance the
the look of the park. I think these trees would just further enhance it.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Absolutely.
in favor of getting some evergreens in there for sure, but my concern on approving anything at this point, I guess, would be what to approve. You know, if you know what I'm saying, because like Chris said on the layout, I mean, would we want all 10 or?
Well, I guess what I understood Chris and Brian's discussion, we approved 10, and if there's only room for 8, then they'll adjust the cost, or
Accordingly.
we find a place we want to put 10. Did I understand that
Yes,
correctly?
sir. Yes, sir, absolutely.
What are you thinking about some evergreens?
Well, I think it enhanced the looks of the park. My guess is we would have room for 10. But I haven't went down there and tried to
Visualize.
to lay it out, but I think we can go down there and try to make sense of it.
I think evergreens would sure add a lot of beauty.
I think so too.
So what is your
And
space?
with the those spruce trees are nice also, though.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, we're planted probably like 8 or 10 foot apart. You know, the trees are probably that big around. They're tall. They're beautiful trees. Every year they put on new growth. They have a new pretty blue tips on them. You guys have seen blue spruce trees. These are great trees. And I know I've already been up and walked the fire pit area. And like, from my understanding, Buddy told me that there's gonna be a sidewalk that's gonna come into the fire pit, which my dad even said, well, heck, if they wanted a couple smaller trees for like out by the street, my dad would said, well, we could try some of them too. I mean, that way you don't want to walk up to the park and have all 10-foot trees. Like you just walk into 10-foot trees, or you're blocking a lot of the rest of the beauty of the park. So if a guy started out like from the corner, and I'm sure eventually you guys will have some type of curving and decorative plant eventually down the road. You would start out with a smaller tree and you build up to the big pretty trees around like the gazebo and that. You know, like behind the gazebo, you could put 3 or you could put probably 4 trees behind that, you know, spaced off from the corners and then on the sides. So if you're sitting there at the fire pit and you're looking up the stack, you're gonna see the trees behind it, and then, you know, down the sides and kind of around it. And I mean, I told Chris I would help him like with I already got some stuff drawn up that I don't know, to help you guys out, just some ideas of, you know, some of the landscaping stuff that I've seen. I mean, we would go in and do $100,000 jobs on some of these doctors' homes and waterfalls, and in like a week, $100,000 jobs. Like, that's no joke. That's definitely.
I think we should move forward with the larger trees and get this thing going.
At first I thought, you know, and I was like, why the heck are they building the park there? But that park's like coming together. Like, that's pretty cool. That's awesome to see. And I see kids up there every day. It's freezing cold and there's kids up there bouncing a basketball around. I'm like, man, them kids are tough. I don't want no part of that.
Well, and the few trees that are out there right now sure make a big difference. That's why I think we should move forward on this. I mean, we can keep talking on it, but let's get it done, especially while the ground's good.
Yeah, we need to, we're gonna do that. We need to do sooner.
Sooner would be better,
Right.
like, because we get caught, and then bam, then it's next year when it gets cold.
Now your trees are the ones that are over there about 3/4 of the way to Casper, right on the right-hand side.
Yep.
Yeah, I drove by and I took a look at them. That's
There's
why
like,
go ahead.
There's a lot of them
yeah, there's a bunch.
there. There's a bunch.
My dad started out and I planted them trees. That's no joke. They were like this big. I planted them with an Ford in9 tractor and I drug a ditch and I went down there and then I went back with the Bobcat with an auger and punched all the holes. My wife helped me do it. It was a lot of work. And I told my dad, I'm like, why the hell are you buying all these trees? And he's like, oh, they're a good investment. They make the property value go up. Well, my dad started out his property tax out there used to be $48. It's $3,800 now because of the trees.
That's why he's selling them, right?
Huh?
And that's why he's selling them to save on taxes.
Save money.
That's why I was refusing to paint my house. I don't want my taxes to go
Yeah,
up.
right. You know, somebody comes in and builds a really big, nice house next to an old junky house, it just raised their taxes. They don't even realize it, you know?
Mhm.
But it up
It
the
does.
value, it'll up the value of the park, it'll up, I mean, it'll be, I would make it worth you guys' while.
Can I have a motion to approve the purchase of the 10-foot spruce trees
I moved that.
for up to $5,500. If it is decided that less trees are needed or smaller, that we will negotiate with Brian on the reduction of price. But the price will not exceed $5,500. Is that correct?
To transfer funding.
Oh. Yeah, and we will need to transfer the funding from the discretionary account to the park account to pay for this.
So
I
moved.
see. Second.
Do we have further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you for your
Thank you.
presentation.
You guys want some of these? Look at some of these? Jake, anybody?
I'm all right.
There'll be more for sale. Pass them over, Chris, will you?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, guys. I
Yeah, I've
appreciate
seen
it.
'em.
And I'll get with you sometime the end of the week, okay, Chris, or in a couple weeks, or what do you want to do?
Whatever you want to get started, sooner the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's shoot for like Friday. I'll give it to Friday. And we'll go take a walk at the park. I can just meet you there in the morning, whatever. We'll go take a walk at the park and I'll give you some ideas of what I'm thinking. And everybody's more than welcome to come. Let's hear what you guys think. I mean,
Well, what I can do is do that, sketch it out,
good,
take a photo, and I can email to the council.
Good. We can do that. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good
Hey,
night.
Brian, on a side note, I hope your parents are getting better.
Hey, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. And you guys, coronavirus, that's some real shit. It's bad. Like, I'm terrified of it. Like, hey, that's why I'm masked up. You guys are scared of me because I already tested. I'm negative. I don't know where you guys been. I'm just kidding.
That's why-
Brian.
But it is real.
Back.
Back door. Good. All right. Thank you, guys. And just hold on to them pictures, Chris, and pass them around, whatever you need to do. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the road grader. What I wanted to bring up, we've been watching some auction sites. If we decide to buy something on the auction site, I may not have time to ask it permission to spend money to buy a road grader. We've seen a couple go by. We may have to act
Right.
relatively
Real
fast,
time.
real time to purchase these. One of the sites that Buddy and I've been watching is Ritchie Brothers. One of the things they do provide, as I mentioned earlier, they do provide oil samples for your engine. You can look at that. Most of them even have oil samples for the transmission. That gives you a good feeling. You'll show videos with them running. Look if you're seeing them getting blow by. Things. These oil samples are an important tool. And one would have been done on the current, you know, the bigger blade we have now, we probably wouldn't have bought it because that probably telltale that the engine was short-lived. There again, I think we need to be cautious and make sure we're trying to make a good purchase on something before we spend a lot of money on recognizing we do need one.
So my question is for things that are over, what is it, 30,000 or something, you gotta put it out for bid.
No, we're buying, not selling. We're buying, and we're buying a vehicle. Like this is at an auction. This isn't like we're buying a new vehicle, putting out where we're buying, like we're gonna build a new town hall, or if we're gonna buy a $50,000 new lawnmower or something, or buying something new that would be appropriate.
I was just questioning that legality of spending that much money without a bid process. I know you can't do that with an
Right.
auction, but I just want to make sure we're on the legal side of things.
We are.
So if that was the case, we have the money in the account for a road grader.
Yes.
The $107,000 for the maintenance department.
Equipment upgrades.
It was
So
more than that.
107,000.
We had that CD for 100,
107.
then we transferred 10,000
that's for repair.
for repair. That was that line item 145.
Well, I understand. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Increase because of the revenues for one financial that 10,000 came from. Oh, I'm talking 107,000 just to see itself.
Okay,
Plus what's
Sorry,
in the
sorry.
budget.
okay, so
Yes.
I was saying we had more than that.
Correct. You are correct.
So what are the proper steps to make that accessible to purchase it? Because I know we've missed out on some smoking deals due to not being able to hit the buy it now button.
Right. Well, we will need a authorization from the, I would need the authorization from the council to purchase that, to spend that money. We can even put or even probably should put a limit, because I don't have no intention to spend $100,000 on a new blade. Because of our actual limited use, it's hard for me to, we were looking at that one very seriously at around 58,000. It's going to be at the real smoking deal to get me to spend that much or much more. I did find some, if you included shipping
Which we would
from
have
it,
to.
we could have been maybe 65,000. I've seen a couple of them in that price range in the under 5,000 hours. And to me,
That's what we need.
That's really,
Yeah.
that's an important thing. I've seen one I was watching went for 80,000, which that was probably still a real bargain, but I feel uncomfortable with spending that much money. But I've seen some in the under $60,000 range that may have made be a pretty good purchase. If we have any doubts, if we got a little time, like, I think Buddy and I have talked it over, that cap that was up in Montana. We decided it's more hours. We're finding they had like 16,000, 17,000 hours,
Yeah, it was a lot.
something, and we decided not to go look at it because of the hours.
Right.
But we could, if something was
real good or something, had any doubts, I could travel and take a look at it. I do have quite a bit of equipment, engine experience.
I don't know. I know you and I are thinking the same things on what would make a quality blade.
Right.
I mean, to suit the needs.
Yeah, I'm not a mechanic as you are. Just sort of
I'm not an
Life
operator.
life experience around a lot of equipment.
Right.
But if we, and it may be worth a quick trip out. The plane tickets are cheap, or drive, whichever way to look at something. But I'd be willing to do that to make sure we get I just try, if we're gonna spend that much money on a blade, I want to make sure we don't have what happened with, I know the thought process went behind this last one we bought, because of we don't use it a whole lot. That the lower amount of money made an awful lot of sense, but something like it maybe still might be out there, but we want to be careful and don't get one that's
About ready to
blow up, and that's why oil analysis is real important. I looked at one that looked pretty nice, and then on the video, it had a lot of blow by. They do show that, no, you want to stay away from that.
It's, yeah.
Pretty simple. That would look cheap, but there's a reason. They could have gave it to you and it'd have been too expensive. So that would be, I would request the authorization to go ahead and pursue a blade.
I move we allow the mayor and Buddy to purchase road grader for up to $60,000, excluding shipment to Shoshoni.
Second it.
Been moved and second that the mayor and the director of public works pursue a blade for the town of Shoshoni, up to $60,000, excluding any transportation to deliver it, because did I get that correct?
Correct.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. We have the information, breakfast Santa.
Oh, I didn't. I was gonna just report on it. I guess I did. I'm sorry, I didn't get you the information on it, but anyway, we're gonna try to do it on the 12th of December
12th
In
of
the-
December.
in the community room and serve the kids from 8 to 10. And I'm working on some stipulations for the COVID situation so that we have that in place to make it easier too, however is needed. But I do feel like we need to go ahead and do something so that the kids have some involvement. And I've got some volunteers as well that's willing to help with it.
We're going to try to move forward on that, and 12th of December, if COVID dictates different, we'll do what needs to be done for the safety of everybody involved.
Correct.
Hey Kathy.
Yeah.
Could you talk to them also about getting some flyers printed out so I can get those over to the school? Because like I said, last year the school had no idea what was going on, and I think that was another reason for the low turnout.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do that by the end of the week
Perfect. Thank you.
and get them to you.
That will work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have there's no new business. HDR sidewalk engineering payment, $14,791.27.
was for payment of it? That we need to
It's-
vote on?
Just authorize to send it out
Okay,
for engineering services. They were redoing the signs and along the sidewalk path. That was the things during bill for those services.
to finish that. Okay, I'm so moved that we go ahead and make the payment for 14,791.27 to HDR sidewalk.
Have a second?
Second.
Moving second, we pay HDR $2,791.27 for engineering. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Library report for October 2020. Adult patrons 117. Children using the library 29. Special activities, book festival 62 attended. Meeting attendance 5. Story time 24. Visitor center 13. Total library visitor center usage for the month 250 people for the month. Computer use 22, personal computer use 20. Circulation of items in the library 181. New library cards issued 2. Libraries brought in $122.20 for the fiscal year. $66.30 for the month. Comparison 2019, there was 159. In 2019, 2020, 117. Children 29 in 2019, 72. Story time actually up 24, 2019, 20. Visitor center 13, up from 8. Tourist culture. Library items 181, stayed the same. That's what I have for a library report. Chris, would you like to give a police report?
Staffing, Officer O'Neill has cleared his FTO as of November 1st. The Shoshoni police coverage is currently at 71% of active hours patrol. The remaining hours are covered by Shoshoni as a primary on-call for responding. Our equipment status, our Shoshoni vehicle fleet is fully operational and outfitted, which completes all acquisitions from the previous budget year. So we are now, we've received everything that we purchased last year. It's finally operational. Calls for service. We issued 100 citations during October for various traffic-related offenses. Average speed for contact was 47 miles per hour.
Average speed?
Average.
Okay.
Average cited speed, right?
No, that's actually speed that we give a lot of breaks on our speeds. For instance, some of those doing 54 will slide up to 49 because they're accelerating in some cases. So the average speed is actually what we actually stop at. Not necessarily what we
Okay.
cited. So I'm sorry for that.
That's still a lot
For a 30-mile-an-hour.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That means the average speed, anything over 15 miles an hour is a major traffic violation.
right.
So the average is a major traffic violation. But some people say we have a speed trap in Shoshone.
And I will say that about 90% of all citations written are in the 200 block, which is the fire hall and Parasite California Street is where they're observed speeding. So it's not like they're on the outskirts of town or just coming into town. Or when they're clocked, I should say.
Mhm.
A lot of times they won't stop until outside of town before we catch them. The Shoshone Police Department also responded to 5 disturbance calls involving intoxicated subject, which resulted in 1 arrest. Underage consumption of alcohol continues to be a problem. Shoshone Police Department did respond to a local residence involving numerous subjects under the age of 21, which had consumed alcohol. Going forth, the Shoshone Police Department will have 0 tolerance initiated for underage consumption of alcohol. And also, just as a reminder, for those under 21, a DUI is 0.02, which is the equivalent to 1 drink. Juvenile reports after curfew hours have decreased recently. However, with the increase in patrol, curfew for juveniles will also be enforced in the later hours of the evening or early morning. Maybe. The Shoshone Police Department also responded to a call for service involving firearms, involving numerous subjects. The investigation ultimately led to multiple search warrants being served in the Shoshone area, and 1 subject is currently in custody. And that is the end of the police report.
I know Sunday there was a lot of ham chatter about the new police truck in Shoshone around the state.
About the state.
Yeah, it's a ham radio, but yeah,
Oh, ham radio. Oh,
Ham.
sorry, yeah.
ham radio. Yes. Ham's talking about how you can't even tell it's a police truck. I wanted to pipe in, but I kept.
You want to refrain.
It's like, if you don't speed, it's not an issue. They'll wave. Yeah, there's the new police vehicles have been noticed. The Durango and pickup specifically.
Also on that, the counter to that is the visibility at night is actually increased versus the other way of having graphics which are reflective, and so it makes it harder to hide at night,
Right.
versus the daytime when we're rarely visible.
I think they're pretty
And
good
the
looking.
safety part of being visible at night.
Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting that the ham chatters.
It was off the linked repeater system, so it was like people from Casper, Pavilion, up into Thermop and the Bighorn Basin were all chatting about it on that.
Maybe they'll slow down.
That was the recommendation to each other.
Well, then that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
That is a good
That's
thing.
how you get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Because it's nice that we have a police department with the equipment they need.
Yeah.
Again,
That is
after years
wonderful.
of neglect.
I will say the highway patrol is going to, sounds like they're going to Dodge Durangos like ours.
Uh-huh.
And our installation model, I had seen some photos down to the installer that we also used. And sounds like they're looking at installing theirs the way we installed ours.
It's good to be a model of what to do.
Mhm.
I'll tell the highway patrol that.
I try not to talk to them at all.
Yeah, well, I think it's nice that they've come this far here because for so many years, everything's really been used and very well used. It's nice that we've got some good equipment.
That what
Thank
really
you.
brought it to mind neighbors when they had a potential suicide at Fast Lane, and they received a call on our chief of police at that time last fall. I mean, a year ago or something. Couldn't get his police car to start, and literally probably could have walked there faster to Fast Lane from his house than the time to respond. And we had a response to Fast Lane within a couple weeks after that. Chris was a reserve officer working for us part-time. Actually, his response from his living north of town was faster than the response from an officer from our chief that lived in town, but he got into his vehicle and it started. And
I just,
helpful.
that was a real eye opener to me, and boy, we
Need
really
to-
need to upgrade our equipment. And that was one of the things that drove me to support that. I will
Well,
say
and
that,
then when Will was an officer here too, I mean, every time there was a call, he'd go out there and I'd be out there jumping the dang car because it wouldn't start.
and I will say that is currently our third vehicle in our fleet. The new officer, we actually call it Frankenstein because we have to flip the switch every day. And then
To get it to work.
It doesn't, then the battery will be dead, so we actually had to install a switch that we have to manually every morning still, but
Mhm.
You know, you could just install an ignition controlled solenoid and that would not be an issue.
they supposedly tried that.
Didn't do it
but
right.
didn't. I don't know, they tried that. I told them put a little safety switch like you do in a race car, used even the old trucks, construction, you get out.
Yeah.
you drive a
Kill
truck,
switch.
You gotta
Kill
you gotta
switch.
switch, you
Yeah.
bet. So disconnect the battery from the vehicle.
Mhm.
But it's a shame we gotta do that.
Right.
Guess what's Chris saying, in the future, we still need another vehicle
Mhm.
in the future.
Mhm.
Well, we've come a long way since we had to depend on a vehicle that we had to jump with bulb steel treaded tires to send our officers in. So I'm definitely happy to hear our law enforcement's going.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, as far as we're still on the police report subject, I didn't have on there. The tires that we have for our new vehicles, they aren't snow tires. So that I don't currently have, we didn't really have a vehicle maintenance budget because we have new vehicles.
Mhm.
So that might become an issue in the winter possibly. I don't,
Maybe if we're sitting good at the end of the second quarter, there would be
That's
some
what I was-
funds freed up for some better tires.
but that's just we came up with probably maybe something. I'll take it. Advise you guys when it comes to that. Yep. I just noticed that on the new pickup.
Did you notice that
Yep,
too?
Yep, yeah. They're highway tires. Yes, they are. Maybe I should have ordered Wyoming tires. It was made in Mexico.
Mhm.
Any comments for the questions for the chief? Let's move into executive session for real estate and personnel. Can I have a motion to close the regular meeting and move into executive session?
I move that we close this meeting and go into executive session.
Have a second? Been
Second.
moved and second. Do we have any further discussion? None. None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bo, would you
Yeah.
dial the town number and dial in and I'll answer? Can I have a motion to open the meeting, general meeting?
So move.
Second.
Moving second, we open our council meeting at 9:34. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're back in session. Reports from members of council roundtable. I want to have a little something to say that I'm not on, but Councilman Zen has a presentation.
I was out campaigning. I've talked to people on the doorsteps. People made comments about mushroom farm again the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's happening. The smell has been,
Pretty impressive.
yeah,
Fragrance?
it's back again.
Whenever they're turning their compost out there, the order will increase.
It's still
It's
problems with the town and people make complaints about it.
Mhm.
So,
Are we reconvening?
Yes. Yeah, I'll talk to them again. I have in the past. That's been their explanation. The DEQ is monitoring. It's been told me they were going to continue to monitor the mushroom farm, to make sure they stay in compliance of state regulations. I will contact the DEQ again and follow up with that. But I don't know what else the city can do. But I will follow up again with the DEQ, and I have in the past. And the DEQ has assured me they're monitoring every time they have someone come through. Of course, I believe the citizens probably can also call the DEQ. That's what I've done. But the explanation has been whenever they turn their compost and they do that, I don't know, it's once every 3 weeks or whatever their time, whatever they're doing, but that whenever they do that, that creates more. I live pretty close to them. And you catch some of the orders sometime.
second thing people talked about was a lack of enforcement of speeding in towns on the side streets after school and after practices. So around 4 o'clock or stuff, they see people coming down streets, not Pine Street, Maple, their last one in California. Just comments about that. Then on the highways in front, going straight through town, people say, you see a lot of people. I said, they're enforced. Their policemen are out there. Said, we'd like to see more.
Is that do we want to? They want us to hire more police officers?
They didn't say that. They said they want laws enforced. That's all they said.
I can. Last week, Andrew, our new police officer, had one pulled over speeder right in front of my house. That I do know. Chris, would you like to address that any at all, or?
As far as speeding goes, we are enforcing.
I know that. You said you had 47 miles per average.
100 tickets.
Yeah.
That's 100 tickets, not 100 stops. I think short of having every single car that's speeding stopped, I think that, we could obviously try and target, but we're trying to patrol around town more than just sit on the highways. I just actually had a conversation when I was walking back from Fast Lane. People see a car driving by and they assume it's speeding, and they say that car's doing 65 miles an hour through town. In reality, it's doing 35. I'm not saying that there isn't speeders that we miss. I'm not saying that we're going to catch every one, but we also don't stop people for doing 37 miles an hour through town. We'd be doing traffic stops literally every day. And I don't think that that would be appropriate. The blowback that we'd get for doing something like that would be a lot greater than someone doing 35. This slowing down in the town, there's some times when that's justified, sometimes when it's not. I don't have the exact answer. I'd love to sit down and talk with people. I'd love to actually have a police conference and sit down and talk to the community and see what their concerns are. Actually address them one-on-one and actually have that. And not getting a third-person report that I can't really articulate concerns other than that I would be happy to, just like I talked to the gentleman across the street, I would be happy to look at the times that you're seeing those influxes and where they're at and addressing them in those manners. The school being one thing, that's something that we definitely can do better at, making sure that we're there. We try to be, but probably do a little bit more enforcement at those exact hours, but that's a concern and address that.
These are just comments I heard when I was
Oh, yeah.
door to door. So okay. The next one was just noisy dogs that just bark.
That's all over town.
It's all over town, you know, and they say, you know, they're in somebody's yard, they're penned up, but they just bark. And, you know, if a car drives by or some kid walks by, and I said, call town hall, make a complaint. They said, well, we really don't want to, but I said, but that's your recourse.
And then actually on that, I guess it wasn't my police report for last month. I actually had 3 different residences that I responded to the next day. One of which wasn't home. The dogs were literally barking all night long. I'm not sure if you heard them, but it was nonstop. And I heard them. I heard them over my TV. And this was at 1 o'clock in the morning. I actually put my uniform back on, went to the house by myself without being called to address it. They weren't home. I addressed it the next day with them, and I have not had any other issues since. So that is something that is definitely an issue with dogs. And the problem is that when they're on the other side of town, I may or may not hear them at 1 o'clock in the morning. When you're driving around, your windows up, it's cold out, you're not hearing them. I do encourage people to call, or if they don't want to call, fill out a complaint and get it to me and show me, you know, tell me what address it is. You can do it anonymously. You don't have to name yourself. It's something that we can be aware of. And our basic process is upon a complaint, we will contact the owner, notify them, give them a warning, depending on the hours, and address it that way, not just give them a citation and try and give them a chance to rectify it. However, if they don't, and it becomes an ongoing issue, then we'll take other action. And that would be what I would encourage to do. And maybe I would like to institute a police Facebook page or a police only page. I know we have some mechanism from town hall, but I think that would give a little bit more of a direct communication directly to us, not through town hall to the police department, without having to call. If they don't want to call dispatch and have to report it that way, maybe they make it a little bit easier to get the information or to report to us than having to come to town hall, get an official complaint form, turn it in. They can do it more anonymously that way. I am working on getting our cell phones with that Heroes Act, with not Heroes Act, sorry, Heroes program with T-Mobile, which would have a cell phone for all the police officers as well as the city workers. And in that regard, I would be more than willing to give out that number to everybody to call or text, and more of a live communication aspect of things where they can instantaneously transmit, not through the internet necessarily, but just another mechanism that they can voice their concerns. And I'm fine, but I do agree the dog is barking. Very, very long conversation, but that is something that I have noticed. And it's really weird when I'm driving around, I don't hear them. As soon as I get home, I hear them. We have them in our neighborhood. And I think that a reckoning needs to happen with the dog problem in town, dogs at large. Not someone's dog that just gets out of their yard, but the ongoing constant dog that constantly escaping and leaving their yard, that needs to be addressed. As well as the tagging stuff, I think we need to make an initiative. I need to make a plan to address that a little bit more stringently to hopefully gain better compliance and people with their animals and dogs for other citizens that are trying to sleep and not have dogs that get hit up the highway. We just responded to one last week or 2 weeks ago. You know, it's unfortunate, but there are just some issues that related to dogs that have noticed as well.
Yeah.
The next one was a comment about the water, town's water. It seemed to be milky, bubbles, smoky. They really couldn't describe it. I said, you know, we're doing a water study. We're finding out there's maybe gas in our lines in the water just from formation. It's being hopefully rectified.
On that, Buddy wasn't here today, but I think that I need to bring this up since you brought that up. The water issue, well number 6 is normally mixed with well 5, 4, or 2.
Right.
So that in this case, well 2 was down, the motor's out. Well 4 was down, well 5 was down. So that issue was because well 6, and is where that's going. Where I'm going with that is that since Buddy's not here for a presentation, out of the enterprise fund, we need approximately $25,000 to use the enterprise fund to purchase the new motor to get these wells back operational. We don't really have a choice in this. It's not, it has to be done. We don't have the capability to kick it down the road. We don't have the wells. We have to have water. He did get well 5 operational again and mixed with well 6. And that's why you notice probably the last 2 days that's
Better.
it's better, but that's a temporary fix. And it's, the estimate's going to be about $25,000 to get the new motor and to get the screen dropped and the stuff in the quarters report with the meters that they have to have out there. It's about $25,000 that we would need to access the savings in the enterprise fund for the water, which currently is around $6,000. But that's something that we have to do.
Then we need to put that on the agenda for next week or in 2 weeks.
Is 2 weeks too far out, or?
No, I don't think it's too far out, but that's going to be something that's going to have
Needs
to
to be done immediately,
It's got to
if
be
not sooner.
addressed.
Because he can get all the stuff ordered, but pay for it.
Right.
Mhm.
So we get the ball rolling now, but it'll have to be an agenda to do that.
To do that.
The next one that people talk about, the condition of the roads. I said, you know, we're looking for a new road grader. We're trying to find one, but the one we have right now is dead and we haven't had any moisture in the ground and you just can't do anything about it. So, you know, they recognize some problems and they listen to them. The last one is a personal one for me. In April, I requested information from our town clerk of all the town property that the town owned and sold, the prices, and have been ignored for a while. I've talked to Joel about it. I talked to Chris when he came on in August. Then on the 13th of October, I gave Chris a formal letter, which follows the Freedom of Information Act, requesting information. According to federal law, I have 20 days to receive that information. That information is used, can be used by the town on economic development. I've not yet received that information. I received parts. I gave Chris before the meeting a summary of what he gave me. And I'm still waiting for the rest of the information.
The information that was requested in April, obviously, I wasn't here for that.
Kathy was, I talked to Kathy about it. I talked to Kathy and Joni together. Joni showed me a sheet in the safe that had some of that information on it. I talked to Tony about it when he was here. So I've talked to multiple people.
And all that information actually is public record with the county clerk's office. They are the official record keepers of all properties, not the town hall, not the city clerk. The information I did provide to you was what I got from the county as far as the land that they had on the GIS servers. For an official, every town property, the purchase price, that is something that typically an attorney handles. It's called deed work. And they're the ones that have to go through all the records, and there's lots of records in the county that they have to go through and get the purchase price. Some of those are confidential. I can't gain access to those. I don't have that information readily available. And it's something that I can. As a matter of fact, before this meeting, I told you by the 20th, I'd go down to Julie Free's office and I'd talk to her personally and see what more I can get out of her. And I'd get back to you by the 20th.
That is correct.
So,
I just want the public to know what I requested.
and I would say some of the information is an onerous request that is extremely time consuming. When I say time consuming, I'm talking weeks. It's not something that I can just pop out and ignore you. I've never ignored anybody. It's one of those things that I did have a meeting with you after the 13th outside of town hall.
That is correct.
And I took offense to you saying that I ignored you, and I never have ignored anybody on council, never would.
And I disagree because I actually talked to you in August, and this is my follow-up in October, and there's nothing for August, September, for 2 full months.
And I have more tasks to do than chase down the property records from the county clerk's office. That's public record. And I did apologize that that got slipped down because I was doing other tasks, and that was not something that was front and center that I would told you originally I would get as soon as I could, preferably by October when we had that meeting, and it slipped my mind. And I apologize for that, but in no shape or form or fashion have I ever ignored anybody on council for any demand that I can, a request that I can facilitate. Sometimes if you make a request that is beyond my scope, if I can make it happen, I will. And I work hard to do so. And
From August to October, I didn't receive any feedback from you at all.
And as I stated, I then and now, I didn't ignore you. I never meant to make the impression that I ignored you. It was something that in the course of other things that were going on with COVID, it just was, it slipped my mind. And I told you I'd make a note of it, and I got back to you as soon as I could with that information that I did have immediately after that. And I told you today that I would also get back to you with whatever additional information I can to fill in the gaps by the 20th.
Well, really, I'd like to insert on this. Really, the county is the keeper. That's who should be requesting the information from. Very easily, Bob, you could go get that yourself. Chris is not only doing everything he should be doing about there. We've been dealing with an audit ever since he came to work here. That has taken hundreds and hundreds of hours of his time to work on this darn audit. And we're still working on that audit. We're not done. And quite frankly, it's to ask him to spend time on something like that you could easily research yourself. I feel that's appalling. That troubles me. There's only so many hours in the day he can work, and he's got a lot of things to do. And the county has records of what you have. We don't have it readily available in our files here. I don't know where it's at. I haven't seen that information. There was property purchased that it doesn't look like that the proper paperwork was even done on.
So isn't this valid information for the council to have, for the governing body? to
Why didn't the
know
last
about?
council do it? When you were on the council before, why didn't you have it done?
Because the last council was not looking at economic development as strong as this one.
Okay, but they
And
were
it was
buying
not a
property
priority.
and stuff.
And so, because of the council here has been pushing economic development, I thought it would be a great idea to have this information. Do you disagree? Not, we should not have this information?
I think it's a good idea to have the information.
So
but
what
I
I'm just
also
asking
feel
for,
like,
that's all I'm
have you
doing.
ever been over to Lander to go through those books? I spent hours over there and I still can't find a lot of stuff. And Lander won't help you going over the courthouse. You're on your own and there's tons of books to go through.
So who keeps record of who owns property?
That's just it. That's the
The
lack.
county.
That's the link
Okay.
that's been missing in our city hall right here for many years. It's not just a current problem. It's been a problem for many years.
Even on just this little bit of property here, we had to research, we did identify all the property that the town does own. That we did do. But it's,
Excuse me,
I said,
all the property town owns?
that I know about, yes.
Okay, then I have not received all that information yet from Chris.
Well, the property that the well house is on is listed on the property. The well house itself may not be.
Okay. Well, what about the property that town bought from Tony Olson?
That was done. I think it was a quick claim deed for the Olson property. We don't have some of the stuff, like I said, it's the county clerk's office. It's all the records.
And they're not up to date at the county clerk's office.
What I was trying to explain to you in the office is that it's not as easy as I can just produce it.
I'm just saying, I'm bringing this out, that it needs to be brought, and the town should have that information.
I kind of felt threatened the other day when you were up there in public. I mean, I'm trying to be respectful. I am respectful, but
And I'm feeling like you said, I felt ignored. My request was completely just blown off. I mean, that's my perception. My perception, my reality.
But the proper procedure, if you want something like that, give it to me in writing, Bob.
Wait a minute,
Yes,
that's not your job.
no, and it
Job goes
is
to
my
clerk.
job. No, it is
You
my
told me
job.
I could go with any question I had, any request to the clerk or a department head and ask them for that information.
No, that's actually the mayor's job.
You told me, the whole council that.
We're not gonna have council members directing
I'm not directing, I'm
the
requesting.
department heads.
I'm requesting information as a public citizen.
I will refer you to the county clerk's office.
Thank you. That's all I have.
I would like to touch bases on Shoshoni revitalization roadmap. We received a grant. And we're gonna have, next week, we're gonna have what, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're gonna have people in town.
Or 78.
I don't know if we can,
If you want, I can scan, I can show you.
okay, pass that around. But we can pass this.
Yeah, I don't want to keep the customer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But we're get one of these. But
grant we received is going to help us develop recommendations, what we need to do to revitalize our community. We were one of three, we mentioned this earlier. We were one of three municipalities in the state to receive this. We're going to have various meetings that we will get published out to the public. That will happen Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday of next week. We're going to be passing out brochures to citizens. We're going to ask for ideas. We're going to have questions from the citizens. We're going to have questions. We're going to invite business owners to talk with them, community leaders. They'll definitely be talking with all of the governing body. And this is all going to be happening next week. Out of this, we hope to get recommendations on what we should be trying to do to revitalize our downtown area to help us with our business. There again, this is for economic development. We received this grant through the Wyoming Business Council. Our regional director has been sort of promoted and put on dealing with dispensing COVID funds. So he's not handy with us, but like I said, it's be the 17th and 18th and 19th. For 3 days, we will have them here in town. But we're going to get copies of this posted and get it out and notify everybody. We had a conversation with them. When was that last? Friday?
No, we had one on Tuesday. Yeah, you're right. It was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, we, hopefully they're going to give us some good ideas to help our town. That was one of the things, actually, Councilman Weaver and myself met with Marcio, our regional director, and through that meeting, we received that grant. This is something that would have happened last April, but COVID hit and it all got shut down and they just brought it back up. But like I said, this is isn't costing Shoshoni nothing. It's a grant from the Business Council. And this is a first step after doing this to reach out for more grants to help our town. This is the first step.
And we actually, and also there's a survey with a link and that QR code. You can scan it with a cell phone and it'll take you to the survey. I'll also post I'll post this information on our Facebook page as well. There's also a link you can directly click on to take a survey, and what it is asking the citizens of Shoshoni what they're wanting to see, what they see, what they believe, just kind of give input for this process when they come and meet and get the citizenry's input on that. And there's also a public input event that will be next 18th, Thursday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or sorry, Wednesday. And so
From 4 to 7 p.m.
4 to 7. So we'll also get information out about that on our Facebook page.
And because of COVID, this meetings may all be Zoom.
Correct. So in that case, we'll get that information out as well for the Zoom call for any public comment and questions for the manager
Yes.
and the group talking about the proposals and the things that can be done and answer any questions the citizens have about the process that they have.
Yeah, that consulting firm, they're out of Utah, coming up, the state contracted them to present. I know us, Moorcroft, and I forget who the third community was that received this grant. But there was only 3.
Wasn't
in
it Kimmer?
state. Huh? Oh, Kimmer.
Kimmer.
It was Kimmer. You're right. Glad I remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kimmer. But yeah, we were the 3 that received it in the state of Wyoming. So there again, this would happen last spring, but COVID stopped it. We finally got where we're up and moving again. And like I said, this will help us when we're chasing more grants. And that's our intention. That's our intention moving forward. That's all. I just wanted to bring that up. Anything else for the betterment of the community? None being, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, passed. Motion adjourned.